Welcome to the Gals Guide podcast. Join us on an adventure to get to know famous and infamous women from around the world. Each of our presenters has a pick. Is she ancient history? Is she breaking news? Is she safe for work? Well, that's up to each presenter. All we know is that...
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Welcome back. I am Riwo, and I am joined by Katie and Josh and Bonnie, and we are sharing our creative expression pick. So, Bonnie already talked about Edmona Lewis, and Josh talked about, Françoise D'Aubonne. There we go, D'Aubonne. And Katie talked about Lee Miller. Yay! So before we dive into my pick, I want to get to know something rebellious about our gal pals. I want to know, and it's kind of a deep dive question that kind of ties into my gal as well. How has societal reactions to rebellious women artists differed from those of male rebels? So the artist side, the female versus male reactions to. How have you found that has differed?
Ask the Gorilla Girl.
Yes! There you go. Yes.
No.
Love it.
There's always, like, the double standard of stuff. And, like, if a woman does something first, and then a dude does it, he's famous.
He's genius, right?
And then it kind of goes the other way. I was trying to look up his name. Some dude from, like, I want to say, like, the 70s did a bunch of, like, soft sculptures.
I'm going to talk about him. Klaus.
Yes! And it's like, he's a genius. He's doing women's work. And it's like, what about the women doing women's work?
Literally rips off the gal I'm going to talk about. Yes.
But, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. I love, sausage, dude.
Women are much more heavily censored and judged, and... the double standard is extremely evident when it comes to creative endeavors.
Yeah, exactly.
Most things, but you see it a lot.
Yeah, a bit too much. Josh, what do you think?
I feel like men have to go a lot further with something for it to be scandalous, you know?
Oh, to reach the scandalous part of it. Yeah.
You know, it's like...
They got to pass genius to scandal.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a woman does something and... the women shouldn't be doing. But then a dude does the same or similar thing, and it's fine. Mm-hmm. But it just there's just a different level when it comes to like where it upsets the morality of people for men.
Right, on the rebellion scale.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I will definitely be touching on this because I have for you a rebel in polka dots. So she's been called one of the most important artists in Japan. So Indiana peeps might know her if you went to see Infinitely Kusama in 2019 at Newfields and saw the pumpkins.
I went with you.
Yes, you did. Yes, I absolutely love her. So my pick is Yayoi Kusama. And she's not only a polka dot artist, but she's also a filmmaker and a protestor and an author and a sculpturist and a fashion designer.
Dang.
So she did lots of...
Busy lady.
Yes, exactly. So her rebellious creative expression is on many, many fronts. And she's also still with us. Mm-hmm. So she celebrated her 96th birthday on March 22nd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right? And what she has been through... When we come back to, she's still with us at age 96. It is absolutely amazing. So, yes, there's the pumpkins.
Oh, nice.
I think I'd heard that somebody accidentally broke some pumpkins.
Yeah. I mean, that happens.
Sounds like Indiana.
Like, it was like a mirror. I don't even know.
It's a mirrored room.
But, like, they got kind of disoriented and stepped on a pumpkin.
It's not the first time. It won't be the last time. Yeah, it happens. But she was born in Matsumoto, Japan. She did have a very difficult childhood. So already from the gate, which a lot like the gals we've already been talking about, but she struggled with mental illness at an early age and it continues through the rest of her life. Her mother wasn't supportive of her art. Kusama talked about rushing to finish her art because her mother would take it away to discourage her from creating art. And then there's her father. Her father had affairs, and Kusama made was made by her mother to spy on her father. And seeing her father have sex with other women and then having to report it to her mother
Yucky.
caused her to have a very complicated relationship with sex and had a contempt for sex, had a very complicated relationship with it, and expressed that in her life and art. So it's one of those things where it's like, I have to mention it because you're going to see it in her art because she's going to work through this shit for the rest of her life. As early as 10 years old, she would escape her family trauma, because there's obviously a lot of it, by focusing on art. So much so, she started to have vivid hallucinations, where she described as flashes of light, auroras, or dense field of dots. This is where the polka dots come from, right? Exactly. She would also see flowers talking to her, and fabric that would come to life.
I wish flowers talked to me. That'd be great.
She also saw objects engulf her and almost consume her. And these hallucinations started becoming incorporated into her work and a process that she calls self-obliteration. It's the title of a couple of her documentaries as well. So it's not just polka dots. These are some deep, haunting shit that she is seeing it and trying to like, no, it's art. That's the way I'm going to funnel it through. If I create it as art, then it's tangible. Then I can hold it down. Then I can share it with others. Then I can explain it away. And she started doing this as early as 10. But I mean, if you're growing up in that kind of environment, you got to do what you got to do. But then at age 13, she went to work at a military factory. And yes, the math puts it at 1942 in Japan during World War II. Kusama worked in the darkness, sewing parachutes for the Japanese army. She talked about hearing the air raid sirens and seeing American bomber planes flying overhead. And she's 13 years old during all of this. She says the war would influence her creative expression and the value of personal freedom and also of creative freedom. So it was very much a staple in her early life. So then at age 19, gets a little better. She went to Kyoto's, there we go, Municipal School for Arts and Crafts. So basically kind of like a fine arts school. She studied the Japanese style of Nihonga, which is organic materials and inks and pigments that are put on either silk or paper. And it's very specific and it's very cultural. It goes back to either the Meiji period or even the Edo period. And let's just say there's lots of rules. So she became very frustrated with this style and said, screw this, I'm doing avant-garde. So she fully rebelled in that wonderful way. In the 1950s, she did find success in Japan painting on paper, which was very popular, but she also painted on walls and on floors and on household objects and on naked people.
Like a rebel.
Exactly. So in 1957, she moves to the United States and she starts exhibiting her work. She has large paintings, large sculptures. She makes like room exhibits as well. She takes these rooms, she puts mirrors and lights in them to create this infinity aspect, very much like the pumpkins that was at Newfields. So the rooms are part of a series called Mirror Infinity Rooms, and I will talk more about them in a minute too. But I get to use this term, and I absolutely love this term. She staged many happenings.
Yep.
I just love the term happenings. I really think it needs to like come back because I think we need to do them more. But they're like an important event that has a deep meaning. Sometimes it's political. Sometimes it's pushing art. Sometimes it's being intellectual of thinking in a new way. But it's usually like improvised or spontaneous. And it usually involves like the people need to interact with it in some way. The happening is supposed to happen to you, not just like observe it sort of thing. So in 1961, she's in New York City. Her studio is in the same building as Ava Hess, who I know you have talked about before.
Nice.
The two of them actually became really good friends, too.
Nice.
So Kusama staged body painting festivals, because why not? Fashion shows, anti-war demonstrations. She created a film company at this time and even a newspaper in New York City. Her first film was released in 1968, and it's called Kusama Self-Obliteration. So that's where that process, that term.
Okay.
She's trying to explain her art to people, and some of them understood it. It did win an award at the International Experimental Film Competition in Belgium.
Mm.
It also won at Ann Arbor Film Festival. So I was like, yay!
Michigan tie.
Exactly. They know their experimental films. She also organized a happening, couldn't resist it, called A Grand Orgy to Awaken the Dead at the MoMA.
Ooh.
This is why happenings need to
Happenings
come
are
back, y'all.
Ridiculous.
They were.
Some of them got really ridiculous. One was like literally a dude going out and having his buddy shoot him in the leg.
Right.
Like, they got
Yeah.
ridiculous.
They did. They got people's attention, and some of them got famous out of it, right? This particular one, performers would embrace each other and interact with the sculptures at the MoMA. At one point, 8 of them were naked. They stepped into the fountain, and then they posed like the sculptures that were around them. So, like the Picassos and all that kind of good stuff, they were posing like them. She also opened naked painting studios and a gay social club. Sounds like a good Friday night to me. She used nudity as art and as protest. And this is really a combination of, like, you know, nudity in the 60s. You know, I mean, you've got Laugh-In where Goldie Hawn's in a very thin bikini and she's all painted with anti-war slogans and things like that. So it was to showcase freedom and rebellion and body autonomy. But also it was Kusama working her shit out. Like, she was trying to figure out how to deal with nudity. The nudity in her work did make her family feel very shameful. And her high school removed her name as an alumni that she even went there because of nudity. But
Get over yourself.
Exactly.
Do they know that they're all naked under their clothes?
I know, right? Exactly.
Like,
Yes. I mean, what is it? RuPaul says you're born naked and the rest is drag. I mean, sure. But everybody's got to be upset about something. So, yeah. I've got to talk about how her work, especially in New York, inspired other people. And when I say inspired, I'm using finger quotes on a podcast, I mean ripped off by other dudes, right? So I've got 2 specific ones. Like I was saying, I was going to talk about the one. So when Kusama exhibited her soft sculpture of a couch, so it's a couch, and if you look at it from a distance, it looks like it's a shag couch, like it has a lot of pills on it. Well, really, it's a lot of white phallus-like protrusions is the term that is used. The couch sculpture is called Accumulation Number 2. And then there's a chair that also has the white phallus symbols, Accumulation Number 1. Remember the part about her father? Yeah, she's working it out. So her exhibit that she first shows is in the Green Gallery in New York, and it got a lot of attention from critics. And Klaus Oldenburg was at that same exhibit with a papier-mâché sculpture and saw Kusama getting a whole bunch of attention. So he decided that he was inspired and made the Sausage Project. Did you know his wife sewed those?
I remember mixers that
Yeah.
I don't remember what scale they are, but they're like hand mixers, but they've got like their handle comes out and it looks like little
Right.
penises.
Oh, there you go. These ones were basically pantyhose with newspaper in them in the shape of a sausage or phallic symbol. And they sold them at their shop. And it actually made him internationally famous with his soft sculpture pieces, which he totally undercut Kusama's work to the point she became very depressed about the whole situation. And later, Oldenburg's wife, the one who sewed all of them, actually apologized in person to Kusama and said she was very sorry that happened. Now, your dude, Andy Warhol, was also inspired by Kusama. Her exhibit, Exaggeration, 1,000 Boat Show. So she had a full rowboat, again, covered in white phallic penises. But in that room, along all of the walls and on the floor, were pictures of the boat in like a wallpaper kind of rotating image. So there was 1,000 of the boats, and then there was the actual physical boat in the room. Well, Warhol liked it so much and told so many people how inspired he was by it that he decided to then do a repeating cow pattern in a gallery show and got super amount of credit for it and didn't say anything about Kusama.
not.
Right?
He lucked out because a lady later shot him.
Oh, there you go.
So-
Right, exactly. Yes, the I shot Andy Warhol of it all. Yes, this is true. So this is why you don't rip off other women's work. Kusama also, after the Warhol incident, became super secretive about her work. Like, she didn't show it until she was ready to claim it and launch it. It wasn't like, I'm going to workshop this and see what people think. Like, she wasn't trusting bitches anymore. And I get it. And I will totally call it out because I really think it's sexism and racism that contributed to men taking credit for her art and design and ideas and how they became the breakout stars of it or elevated their status, where Kusama's also working through childhood trauma. Like, these aren't like, look at my work. It's like she's got a burden she's bringing with this, where the dudes are like, I just saw this cool thing and I just wanted to show you this cool thing. So they can be aloof about it, right? So it appears as genius instead of, I'm using art as therapy. But I mean, so it's everybody gets inspired by somebody, but they did not give her credit. They said nothing. They did not elevate it back to her. And it really struggled with her. It didn't sit well with her.
I do like that.
Yeah.
I do like that in this day and age, in some instances, we've started going back
To find the
and
originators.
finding those originators, finding those people that
Who inspired
quote
who?
unquote inspired these people, and that we're finally getting to the originators of these.
Yeah.
And we're finding those artists that would otherwise be forgotten.
And sometimes they are women of color.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, wait a minute. I found a woman of color who did this first. That makes sense. I get it. So even though Kusama was she was really productive, she was also inspiring to, many people beyond those two. She wasn't profiting from her work. She was hospitalized regularly for overworking. That's the thing. She did attempt suicide, and I can say this in two different ways. I can say it's because she felt like she didn't make the amount of money she believed she deserved, which is what some articles said, which to me makes that sound selfish and egotistical of I deserve more, I should be paid as much as. But at the same time, it's true. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like if you just compare apples to apples of the sausage making guy.
She wasn't feeling valued
Right.
at all.
Yeah. But then I can also interpret it of she was driven to suicide because the financial punishment of being an Asian woman.
Yeah.
Of not putting your money into an Asian woman, not putting value into her work because of that.
Yeah.
So in 1973, she moves back to Japan. So she keeps making art, but this is also when she started writing. So this is where we get some novels, and she also put together some anthologies. I say this with a smile because we just released our anthology. So once I saw that, I was like, anthologies, way to go, Kusama. So that was wonderful. Her novel that came out in 1983 was called The Hustler's Grotto of Christopher Street. Yes, there we go. It won the 10th Literary Award for New Writers. Don't know what that is, but that is on her.
Why is it the 10th?
Audience
I know,
choice.
exactly. I don't know if it's the 10th year. I don't know if it's the 10th literary award that this particular group gives away. I don't know. It was just on her
feel like
website.
1 through 9 was
Award-winning
taken.
writing.
Right. This is the 10th one we're doing. But when she moved back to Japan, she had to start over. She just kind of had to redo her entire career. Her fame did not carry over. She didn't have much fame, and the fame that she had in the 50s, by the time she returned in the 70s, had been kind of squashed out, probably because of nudity scandalness sort of thing, right? So she starts over her career, and in 1977, she found a doctor who was utilizing art therapy to treat mental illness in a hospital setting. So she checked herself into a hospital and has taken up permanent residence since 1977. So she lives in an art therapy mental hospital to this day.
Wow.
Did they ever say what flavors of neurospicy she is?
They probably have. I didn't come into it, but I would say a Skittles rainbow, if you will.
It's like hallucinations. I'm like, does she have schizophrenia?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Or is it PSTD? You know what I mean? That is, becoming neurodivergent or anything like that. So I didn't see any particular diagnosis, but very much so that she likes it there. She even has a studio that she walks to just across the street in Tokyo, where she makes her art and comes back, and she is very happy. As happy as she can be with what she has gone through.
Does she ever travel, or is she just very based out of there?
She's mostly based out, especially at 96 at this point.
Well,
but
yes.
she did have solo shows in France and New York and England, and so she would take her shows on the road. She also started making more outdoor sculptures as well. She would do public sculptures as well as murals in Japan, and Beverly Hills also had one of her sculptures as well.
Okay.
So she does travel around, just not as much. Around 1996 is when she really started focusing on the gallery shows. And the gallery show is basically what came to Newfields here in Indiana. But it's an amazing gallery show that she puts on that tours around. So the Newfields one, it had some of her paintings, but it also had this room, and it wasn't like a bedroom, like it was like I'd say like a she shed, you know what I mean? Like basically like a storage shed, like where you put your lawnmower, that size, not that big. And only one group can walk in at a time. And I think it was a max of 3 people, because you and Cammie walked in. I think me and Beza walked in. So I think we were limited to either 2 or 3. But you walk down this mirrored platform, and all the walls are mirrored. And on this particular one, it was orange pumpkins with black polka dots. And they're just they just kept going and going. And it's a great selfie moment, because you're taking a picture of yourself in front of these infinity pumpkins. But it's like never ending space. It's almost like one of her hallucinations. Wow. You can't find an end to it. It's all encompassing, because they close the door and the door has a mirror on it. So I can see how they can step on stuff, because you don't know. I got dizzy in it. Yeah. Like they only let you in there for like a minute max, and they're timing you, because I think you're going to pass out. She had some of these that had lights going, like a little rave. And I'm like, no, thank you. I would forget where I was. But those are the mirror infinity rooms that she's been kind of having go on tour around the world since 1996 and are continuing to this day. She's won a ton of deserving awards. She's also had major retrospectives of her work done in Los Angeles and New York and Tokyo. And art is very subjective, and it's for the viewer to pull out of the art what they need to pull out when they need to, you know what I mean? Like find that meaning in it. But I did find a few people who commented on what Kusama's art meant, and I wanted to quote them. So Mike Yushitaki said that Kusama's works on display are meant to immerse the whole person into her accumulations, her obsessions, and her repetitions. These infinite and repetitive works were originally a way for Kusama to eliminate her own intrusive thoughts. And I was like, he got it. Yes. I was like, yes. And then Claire Voon, she describes Kusama's mirror exhibits as being able to transport you to a quiet cosmos, a lonely labyrinth of pulsing light, of what could be enveloping the innards of a leviathan with measles. Because it has polka dots everywhere, right? And the other one I have is Beatrice D. Chowdhury, who described Kusama as not feeling in control throughout her life, made her either consciously or subconsciously want to control how others perceive time and space when entering her exhibits. Art had become a coping mechanism to Kusama. Okay. And then the last one is what she said. She said she just wanted others to sympathize with her in her troubled life. And I was like, that's a great way to I'm going through some shit. You guys want to empathize, just a little bit? That's why the stealing from her and stuff like that just hurts a little bit more. So she had a disability since childhood, and she transformed that into a creative expression that made other people not feel alone in their disability, in their trauma, or even just in the colorfulness of life, because who doesn't like a polka dot? So yes, there you go. So that is Kusama. I love her to pieces. She's adorkable, and I wish her many, many more years.
Right. It's incredible.
Exactly. Any questions about Kusama? She's a fun, happy, peppy pop one to talk about. She's in the pop art movement of it all and beyond.
I was looking at her art while you were talking.
Yes.
And so colorful.
Isn't it cute?
I love it. Yeah.
Exactly. You would think for such troubled trauma-ness, it would be dark and broody and, kind of emo. And she's like, no,
It's
I'm
like
working this stuff out.
I think she's trying to find the happiness in life through her art.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Do you want me to wrap up the month?
Let's do it.
All right. So that wraps us up for Creative Expression Month. Join us next week as we learn about women who embody innovation. So opening pathways for change, innovation fuels rebellion by introducing new ideas, methods, or technology that challenge outdated systems. So thanks for listening. Want to learn about more women of history? Gals Guide opened a unique women's history lending library. Come visit and explore our collection. Learn more at galsguide.org. Thanks for listening.